So are you ready for me to call him? I got my other phone here, so hopefully he said he would be home in a couple of minutes. He was getting home from work, so I'm going to, if I can get into my phone, so I'm going to call him.
You a winner, no matter if you're not on top.
Wow.
All you need
Wow.
to do is believe in you. Never give up, don't stop.
Next question.
You a winner. Together we can conquer all. When the world's on your shoulder, just step right over. Just let your mind be your guide, and we will find a way to keep our head up in the clouds. We will make a way. Don't let fear decide us now. We've come too far to turn back now. Only love will save the day. We will make a way.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Micah Pierce, and welcome to Micah Pierce TV. This is something new that I'm doing, as you can see from the title. This is something new that I'm doing for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. I've done the online radio thing where I would bring groups together. We would have those great discussions and we'll talk any and everything, you know, real, raw, uncut, and candid conversation, and speaking with icons and legends within the community and having that relationship talk and talking about current events. But a lot of that conversation was always about everybody else. And I'm a person, no matter, even though I am on a public platform and people know of me and know me within the LGBTQ community a lot from pageantry and shows and things of that nature, I wanted this to be a little personal, because at 37, I just turned 37 December 21st.
Oh my God.
And so I thought that I would do something different. And I would turn it around on me, because a lot of people don't know about me. You know, they know of me, they know what I contribute to the community, but they don't know my story. They don't know the things that I've been through. And I am now willing to share certain parts of my life with you guys. And trust me, there are some stories, but there are also some life lessons, some things that I've learned along the way. And I am by far from perfect.
Oh shit, Sherlock.
I never claimed to be. But I definitely proclaim to be someone that has grown over the years. So there's a lot of growth within me. And I've learned. I've learned from mistakes that I've made. Some unknowingly, some knowingly. So I want it to be as dumbed down as possible. Not dolled up, not dressed up, not suited up, not turtlenecked up, not any of those things, you know. I wanted to be able to give this to you real, raw, uncut, unfiltered. I hope that you guys will not judge me for this. Some of you may be judging me just from the title, but I want you to know that this took place over 18 and a half years ago. So October of this year, 2019, will be 19 years that this has happened.
Damn!
So I gotta take you back. So picture it. September 2000. I basically was raised, for the most part, in South Carolina. And I'm from a place called Conway, South Carolina. Some of you may know what Conway is, but I always tell people I'm from Myrtle Beach because, ding dong, everybody knows where Myrtle Beach is. I went to the school for my first year of college. I went to the school called Charleston Southern University, CSU. And CSU used to be called the Baptist College of South Carolina, way before I became a part, or way before I became a student. But it still had that value, those core, you know, religious values. Luckily, I had applied for many colleges at that point, and one of the colleges I really wanted to go to was Howard University, of which I was accepted, but I didn't go. I ended up going there because at that point, Howard was really, really expensive. I got basically a full ride at Charleston Southern, which was also expensive, but it was just that whole thing of really being far away from home. It was just too much. So I went to Charleston Southern. Charleston Southern also only had about, it was like maybe 3 to 5% black. Luckily, I had 2 people that came with me from where I'm from. One being my cousin, who I've known all my life, and another being one of my very best friends at the time, We're still very good friends now, but we were definitely best of friends, and we pretty much grew up together as well. Now, here's the interesting story. My cousin and I, we didn't see eye to eye our senior year. Now, keep in mind, we were like the best of friends. Don't ask me why we didn't talk. I don't have an explanation for that because I don't know, and I don't think he knows either. But we didn't talk. We didn't talk this summer, but we did know that we were going to end up seeing each other at this school because at the last minute, he ended up being a student there as well. So after our mothers and fathers had dropped us off, my dad came from North Carolina to assist with me, you know, going to college and all that whole college experience, my mother and everybody, and same for all of them. And so after everybody was gone, you know, I felt, as well as my friend felt, that it was in our best interest to kind of make up. But I remember going to the dorm and just basically, you know, my friend saying, okay, look, it's the three of us. We got. Whatever y'all had going on, squash it. We squashed it, and it was squashed. So also at that time, I knew that I was gay by this point. Oh, hell no! You know, I had dated a female all through high school, had sex. You know, she was my very first sexual experience and all of that. And but I knew at the same time that I really liked guys, you know. And so all throughout the summer, I was going to the library at the time because I didn't have a computer, or I didn't have a computer with internet at home. And so I discovered this chat. There was blackplanet.com, but there was also, you know, some of you may remember this because it was only around for maybe like a year or two before I guess they kind of got hip to it. I felt like it wasn't a part of their brand, and that brand being Disney. They owned a website called go.com, and I don't even know if go.com is actually, let me look. And what did I say? What, you see it, right? Disney. Y'all see it? Disney. Disney still owns go.com. So, you know, yeah, I would go on go.com, and they had an African-American gay chat room. And the interesting thing, or the most innovative thing, was that you could upload your picture. You could upload any picture, but you could really upload your picture, and people could actually see who they're chatting with. So think about a chat room full of guys. Hey, what's up? What's going on? ASL, age, sex, location. It was A/, you know, L, whatever. I'm just remembering all this stuff. Age, sex, location. So that's what you say. They was like, what did you, top, bottom? So back then, like now you have tops and bottoms and versatiles. Well, back then there wasn't, and I say back then, 18 years ago, they wasn't saying tops, bottoms, or versatile. It was you're either top or you're bottom. You're either or. So I kept seeing this like, okay, top, bottom, what are you? And I'm like, I don't know. But then I don't want to keep telling these people I don't know, right? So eventually I gave them something. And I chose bottom. Yeah, bottom. But the reason why I chose bottom is at the time, remember this is 18 years ago, things have changed, okay? But at the time, I already knew what it felt like to penetrate someone, and I penetrated, you know, a female. But I never knew what it was like to be penetrated. I know that was an experience that you can have as a male, you know, having sex with another male. And so when people ask, oh, I'm a bottom, because that was what I wanted to experience. I wanted to experience being penetrated. And, you know, now that's such a bad thing, and people like, but somebody got to be something, right? I mean, if you want to get the full experience, somebody has to be one and the other. Anyway, I don't get it. But so that's what I was, you know, given. So I had ended up meeting this guy on there. His name was Rodney, and he was older than me. I was 18 at the time, so I think he was maybe like 21 or 22. And he lived like right around the corner, literally right around the corner from the university. Again, I was in Charleston, South Carolina. So he was in another smaller part of Charleston, in the Charleston area. And so we met, and then I just was like, oh my God, like he is fine. He is like fine, pretty, buff, curly hair. Oh my God, I'm telling you guys, he was sexy at the time. You know, we started, you know, talking, and he would come. I remember him meeting me at my dorm, and like he picked me up. Like he could come in because, you know, hey, he was a guy, but I had a straight roommate. And so I still was not, I was comfortable, I was semi-comfortable, but not comfortable to the fact of allowing another man in the space and then we on the bed talking. It just was a whole thing that I was not even really caring about or prepared for. So, you know, he would pick me up when we go to the Battery. Now, I can't tell you, I was thinking about like, how could I tell you what the Battery is? But I have to, I'm gonna Google it and let you know exactly what the Battery is. So the Battery is a landmark, I'm reading, okay, is a landmark defensive seawall and promenade in Charleston, South Carolina, named for a Civil War coastal defense artillery battery at the site. It stretches along the lower shores of the Charleston Peninsula, bordered by the Ashley and the Cooper Rivers, which meet here to form the Charleston Harbor. And so imagine or think about, you know, there's all these houses. If you Google Charleston, South Carolina, you see how the houses are set up on like the river, kind of give you plantation-ish, and then there's like a street that kind of goes in front of it, and then there's the Battery, which is like a little wall, but you can overlook, and it's the river, it's the water there. And so we would go there, we would park, and we would roll the windows down, and that's when I realized that water calms me down and it soothes me and it actually makes me tired and sleepy. But we used to go there all the time because that was kind of like our getaway, you know. It was like maybe about 10 minutes away from you know, my college, so he kind of took me out a little, and so we would do that. And things happened there at the Battery. So I had sexual experiences at the Battery, but not to the point of going all the way. But it further solidified at the time what I enjoyed, or what I was thinking I was going to enjoy. Let's put it that way. And so I kind of, because he was so buff and you know, those stereotypes, I felt like, and I was so kind of like meek and mild and not necessarily feminine, but I was the softer of the two. And so I thought that, you know, everything, we matched up. So this particular time, or this particular day, it must have been a Friday, had to have been a Friday, and we weren't really doing anything. But my cousin told me that he was dating this guy from back where we live, this guy was living in Myrtle Beach. And he was like, oh, he's gonna come this weekend. And I was like, oh, wow. So, you know, my boo thing is gonna come or whatever, you know, and maybe we can all double date or do something or whatever. And he's like, okay, cool. So what we did, so I was on, so I forgot what we called it. I can't tell you what it is, but think about like a Days Inn or a Red Roof Inn and how their rooms are kind of like, you know, make a square or a rectangle, and then you have like the center courtyard. That's kind of like how it was, our dorms. And so, but there was only 2 levels. So I was on the, if I'm not mistaken, I was on the top, and my best friend was on the bottom. No pun intended. My best friend, my boo, and me. And so, you know, so picture, here we go again, Sophia Petrillo. Picture him sitting on the chair, right? And then I'm mounted on top of him, but I'm mounted to where I'm like, you know, hugging him, like, you know, hey boo, whatever. So my face, we're facing each other. My back is turned toward the door. So then comes in my cousin and his boo, and he was like, hey y'all, everybody, this is, you know, such and such, such and such. This is everybody. And I can remember saying, oh, hey. And I was all back to my boo thing. I didn't care about, that was great. Yeah, your boo came and, hey, how you doing, boo? But I was all into my sexy, big, fine, curly hair, just, ooh, pretty thing, right? Pretty boo thing. And so that was kind of like my only interaction with my cousin's boyfriend. And so it got to a point where my cousin was an athlete. Anytime that my cousin's boyfriend needed to reach him, it was either his cell phone, what he would either call the cell phone, the auntie uncle's house, my dorm, or my best friend's dorm. So that's how he would, you know, stay connected. It got to a point to where he wasn't getting in contact with my cousin. Like, my cousin's phone was off. He was never at home. He always missed, like, all of our schedules were so wacky. The weekends were really the only time that we really had, like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was our time to bond and have a great time. But, you know, so during the weekday, him and his boyfriend really didn't talk. And so he would, of course, try to contact my cousin through us. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. I'm going to go back to my boo. So also, as time was progressing with them and him not getting in contact with his boo, I was not getting in contact with mine as much, because I would call and he wouldn't answer, or I would call and it was like 5-minute conversations, and I'm like, what the? It was no more battery. Like, we weren't going to the battery anymore. Like, I was like, really, like, you know, I got brows, y'all. It's, you know, I'm not trying to cover them up. But it was very weird, right? And so I'm just like, you know, what's going on? So it got to a point to where I was like, I need to know what is up, because I don't like to be railroaded and used and abused and not appreciating all that kind of great stuff. And plus, I'm only 18 years old, but I'm really into this man. And so now it's like you're talking every day, all day, until you're not talking at all. So I was a little naive, so I didn't really think that he was cheating. But then I was like, as it got, you know, as the time got longer, and it was like, okay, I haven't talked to him in 2-3 days, like, then it became something for me. And so I just said, what's going on? Like, why is it that I don't talk to you? We don't talk. You know, you don't come hang out. What's going on? And so he said, well, there's a reason. I'm like, okay, what's the reason? You talking to somebody? He was like, no, I'm not talking to anybody. He said, but I have realized that I like the same thing. He said, I realized that we like the same things. And he said, you know, I think we like I realized that we like the same things. So I'm like, okay, again, I'm naive, 18 years old. What do you mean? Like, of course, I mean, yeah, that's great. Shouldn't two people that like each other, shouldn't they kind of like, you know, the majority, or at least the equal balance of the same things, you know? And he was like, no, I'm not talking about like that, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean? And he was like, well, I like dick. And I'm like, okay, like, that's still not a bad thing. I like it the way that you would. I said, boy, what are you talking about? He was like, you know, I'm about him too. What? And so for me at that point, like, it really frustrated me. If you know sexually you're not going to be compatible, then it is what it is. And you're not willing to bend the rules or whatever. Like, at that point, me being 18, I had not had sex with a man yet. But I knew exactly how I wanted things to happen, and what position I want to play. And I knew that if that's what you want, or that's what you like, and this is what I want, then of course we're just not going to be able to mesh. But what I didn't understand from him is the fact that you knew this, because when you hit me up on that go.com application or website in that chat room, and I told you what it was, you took it upon yourself to call, to talk, to chat, to come to my room, to pick me up, to take me to the battery, to do different things. And this happened for like all of a good month, you know? And then you had this epiphany, and now, oh, we like the same things. Okay, whatever. So I just stopped talking to him. So going back to my cousin and his boo, so there, you know, the boo kept calling me, kept calling my best friend, and, oh, you know, hey, such and such there, no, you know, da-da-da, let them know you call. But my cousin wasn't really returning the calls, and wasn't really talking about him like that. Did I ask what was going on? I probably did, but I don't remember. I don't think I did. I don't think I cared too much like that, but it is what it is. He then told me, like, he would call, oh, how's your day been? Oh, my day's been good, you know, it's kind of weird, like, okay, you know, like, you date my cousin, like, why are we having these long extensive conversations? But he was cool, you know. I didn't even remember what the boy looked like, because remember when I met him, I was all into mine. I was not caring about his. I just vaguely remember what he looked like. And so, but yeah, I'm just having conversations or whatever. And so one day he decided to tell me, he's like, I think that I want to end it with your cousin. Okay, you want to end it with my cousin? Well, I don't think that you should be telling me, because I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of that conversation. I don't want to be a part of that whole thing. Like, I think it's best that you just, you know, whatever. I said, but I feel like you should at least have a conversation, let him know how you feel. He's like, well, yeah, your cousin's not there for me. I just lost a cousin. And, you know, he knew I was going through. He didn't care. I feel like he only likes me for my money. You know, when I come down, you know, we go to the mall, you know, I buy him all this stuff. And I may buy me just a little something, like something to eat, but I'm buying him all this stuff. I just feel like he wants me for my money. And I'm like, well, I don't know. And I can't attest that. I can't speak to that. And if I knew, I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Because my loyalty at that time was my cousin. It still is, but you know, we're talking about 2000, September, October 2000. They did break up. The guy did break up with my cousin. It was so weird because I knew it was coming, and I was like so kind of like didn't know what to think or what to do that I then told my best friend, like, oh my God, like such and such is about to break up with my cousin. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, and I don't want to be a part of it, da, da, da. And he was like, well, child, let him do it. You know, child was a thing for us. Like, how girl is, child in the country, in South Carolina, that was a thing. Like, the straight boys say child, the gay boys say child, everybody say child. And the women say child, it don't matter. Child is child, and they still say it. But he was like, child, so, you know, whatever. And so when it happened, you know, I kind of had to act like I didn't know what was coming. But I had to, you know, express some type of empathy toward the situation because just being somebody breaking up with you was not good, but it seemed like my cousin kind of took it okay. So I was like, all right. And so at the same token, like, I don't know how this happened, but I remember the three of us being in my dorm room. It was me, my cousin, and my best friend. And I remember the guy, the now ex, my cousin's ex, calling and wanted to speak to him to let him know or to ask him, and we supposedly had to do this together, ask him was it okay if we continued to talk, like, you know, because he thought I was so cool and da 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 da. It sounds weird, I know, please do not judge me, okay? But, you know, my cousin was like, yeah, sure, you know, da da da. And it was like, me and my best friend was like, he was like, no, y'all can talk or whatever, like, I'm cool, da da da. Okay, cool. So I don't think that was the best decision. Because we continued to talk, and somehow, some way, my emotions, there's a reason why I wear this shirt, why I'm wearing this sweatshirt. My emotions got involved. And we all know when your emotions get involved and you get attached to a person, they're saying all the right things, the vibe is there. It's like sometimes it's like your heart speaks and your mind is kind of back here saying, okay. And you like, child, whatever. You know, I'm grown, whatever. And it was just a thing of, I feel in hindsight looking back, I felt like this guy was doing everything that I wish the other one would have. The one that, you know, basically ended because he was a bottom. My emotions got involved and I started to really like feel for this guy or whatever. And at the same time, I was feeling guilty, but it was like I could not stop it. I could not control it. Like, I was really attached. And remember, like I said before, I had not really remembered how this guy looked. He eventually sent me a picture or whatever. But I really hadn't, like, even before the picture, like, I was into it, you know, but I was into more of the conversation and the substance of it. And so we started talking and it got intense, and, you know, so then it was like my homecoming. So it was my first year going back home to my alma mater, my high school alma mater, and like, I was excited, you know, and that was a big thing for the three of us. Like, you know, I hadn't gone home since. I want to say I went home, this was Halloween weekend, maybe? I think it was Halloween weekend or the weekend before Halloween or something like that. And so the plan was for all three of us to ride together. Well, by this point, I was talking to this other guy from Orangeburg, South Carolina, who was going to South Carolina State, but we were talking only at that time as friends. So I always had a friend, an older gay friend in my pocket, right? So when we were making the plans, okay, oh, we're going home for, you know, we're doing this, we're doing that, okay, cool, you know, whatever, we're gonna leave this time. You know, my classes at the time, I think they got out like 12 or 1, so the plan was to hit the road at 1 o'clock, boom, 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 whatever. And so they were only staying around because of me, because I think the other two, my cousin and my best friend, didn't have like, they only had like one class. I had like two. And so they were only sticking around later because of me, which is totally fine. But then I had a conversation with the new boo, which the new boo is now my cousin's ex. And he was like, I'll get you a rental car. Again, I'm only 18. I'll get you a rental car, and you can come, you know, come to the house, spend the weekend with me, boom, 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 blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. We're gonna try to make this work, right? So I'm like, how do I tell my cousin that his boyfriend, okay, is the person who's renting me this vehicle? Because how am I gonna explain that someone rented me a car? So then I just said, you know what? The way I'm gonna spin this, he knows that I know this guy in Orangeburg. I'm gonna tell him that the boy from Orangeburg rented me the vehicle. And that's how I'm getting home. So I'm like, yeah, this is what's happening. Like, my friends rent me a car for the weekend so I can get around and this, that, and the other, because we couldn't have cars our first year in college. So yeah, so that's what happened. And I was nervous because the way it was gonna happen was that the new boo, the ex's boo, now my boo, was going to drive from Myrtle Beach down to Charleston. He was going to go rent the car in Charleston, okay? He was going to park his car at the rental company, drive the rental car to my dorm, see me for the first time since a month from the time that I first saw him and I was with, mounted on my boo. It's interesting how it all played out. So it was really, really early on a Friday. And I was still was I asleep or getting ready for class? I can't remember. I think I was asleep. And the new boo, the cousin's ex's boo, called me on my dorm room, phone, and was like, look, I'm leaving the rental company now. I got the car. I'm about to head to you. I'm like, oh God, oh God. So I got to get myself together, look all nice, whatever that was when I was 18. And I saw him. He came out. I was like, oh my God, look at he's really cute. Oh my God, that's how I was. And he came up and he hugged me, kissed me. We kissed some more. We kissed some more. We kissed some more. We kissed some more. We got in the bed. Like, at this point, I think my roommate was either gone to class or already gone home for his homecoming. I can't remember what it was. Don't care at this point. But I know he wasn't in the room. Yeah, so, we just like we couldn't get enough of each other. And, it was like amazing. I'm just saying what it was. It was amazing, okay? From what I recall. And so he was like, okay, well, I got to get back because I got to go because he was a nurse. And so he was like, I got to, get back or whatever. And so by the time that you get back, that you get there, I'll be ready for you and this, that, and that. I'm like, okay, cool, da-da-da. So now what do we have to do? I have to go with him to the rental car place, drop him off so he can go back home. And then I'll take the car, bring it back, park, go to my class, boom, 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 and then leave. Oh, it wasn't that easy. It was not that easy. So, as we are walking down the stairs into the courtyard, who do you think is walking across the courtyard going to my best friend's dorm? That's right, my cousin. Literally, my heart went into my stomach. I literally was like, oh shit. Like, literally. And so I'm just like, wow, oh God, how do I explain this? Da, 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 boom, boom. And so he came walking up. He was like, oh, what's going on? I was like, oh, well, remember the person I said had rented me the vehicle? I wanted to go home, but I was going home later. And then I wanted to rent a car. And I told you the guy from, Orangeburg rented the car, whatever. Well, it was really him. And I didn't know, me and him, we do talk, we're friends or whatever. And I just didn't know like how, you was gonna feel. So I was really not trying to let you know the backstory or what was really going on. And He was like, oh, it's okay, it's cool, whatever. He was like, oh, you know, hey, such and such, it's nice to see you, da, da, da. And went about our way. So we got in the car, and he was like, oh my God, that was so awkward. I was like, yeah, it really was. And I wonder, how does he feel? Or what does he think? Does he think anything? And he was like, oh my God, I don't know. Whatever. So he drops me, well, I drop him off. He goes his way to go back to Myrtle Beach, and then I go back to the university to go to my class or whatever. And I think I knew that I had got a confirmation that they had left to go home. I don't remember. But anyway, so when I get to Myrtle Beach, I go to his house directly. I see him. I think he had ordered pizza. I remember that. This is before the game. So because it was like an hour and a half. So my class was over at 1. I was probably at his house 2:30, no later than 3. The game starts at 7, so we chilled for a little bit. I do remember that. We chilled. We ate pizza and wings. We didn't eat all of it, but we ate pizza and wings, and we kissed and hugged and, you know, laid up. You know, there was nothing sexual done, I don't think. No, there wasn't. And so that was that. And so I was like, okay, well, now I got to get ready so I can go to the game. So I met my mom there, you know, whatever. Everybody was there, excited to see us, and, you know, but it was awkward. It was really still awkward because I was like, I really did not know how this weekend was really going to pan out. Now, the interesting thing is that I was staying with him that night. So all my stuff was still at his house. Now, he had told me that way before they broke up, which is weeks ago, maybe a month at this point, probably a month at this point, that he had told my cousin, like, hey, you know, when you come for homecoming, you know, you can stay with me, this, that, and the other. Now, my cousin, I love him down. We good as best of friends now. But my cousin was on some stuff. Some real shicey stuff, because how you gonna go to your ex's house from an invitation from a whole month ago? Y'all not even together, y'all don't talk, none of that. But you come, so after the game is over with, I drive back to, I went to my mom's house. I went to my mom's and grandma's house, sat with them, talked with them for a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm going back to Myrtle Beach to my friend's house. I was like, okay, be careful, nah, whatever. You know, I was, but. So I drive back, but guess who is already at the new boo, the cousin ex's boo house? The cousin. The cousin is there, baby, and my attitude is like, I'm treating him like, what is your old piece doing here? Like, not even thinking like, this is really your cousin, your friend, like. But I'm like, what is your ex doing here? And so he was like, oh my God, I'm so surprised. Like, I didn't think he was still gonna come. Like, that was an invitation from a whole month ago, and da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, okay, so what's about to happen, you know? And he was like, well, he's in the shower, you know. I'm like, so I'm pissed off. I'm on the couch. I'm eating some of the pizza and the wings from earlier that we didn't eat. And I'm mad because I really want to go back home, but then I really don't want to make my mama like really dig into the situation anymore, because when she starts asking questions, then I'm going to have to answer, and I don't want to lie to her. So by this point, the boo is already showered and got his, I mean, you know, he got his little shirt off, little nice, little tight by it in, little, not underwear, but, you know, little pajamas or whatever, just the bottoms. And, the cousin's out the shower, and, you know, it's late at this point because the game's usually about 10. I'm back over there about 11:30, 12. But yeah, it's about 12, 1 o'clock, so it's time for bed. So the boo gets in the bed. Then the cousin gets in the bed. The bed is probably a king size, so he's on one side, the cousin on the other. And I'm pissed. And I really want to get the hell up out of there. So this is how the boo turned it. Yes, turned it. Not turned it. He turned it. He was like, hey, And I'm like, yes. Come on, get in the bed. Nah, I'm good. Hey, come get in the bed. No, I'm good. I'll just sit out here and watch TV. Nah, he got up out that bed, if I can remember. He got out of that bed, and came to the doorway, and he said, hey, come, cut the TV off, come in the bed. That was the third time. All you had to do was tell me 3 times. So now my cousin being shysty and shady and conniving and manipulative, now I'm going to do it. So I jumped my happy ass up and jumped on in the bed, boo. Because I think I did wash my ass, okay? I did wash my ass somewhere in between there. Okay. Just got to make that clear. Because y'all might say, jump his nasty ass in that bed. No, I did get myself together. Okay, I did take a bath or a shower. But then I came back to the room and back to the living room was mad. So anyway, so I jumped in, got in the bed, and guess where I lay? In between both of them. Okay, two can play that game. I love you. I love you, my cousin. I love you. You know I do. But yeah, two can play that game. So I remember my cousin like basically ended up getting out of the bed, and then I think he slept on the couch for a little bit, and by the time I woke up, he was gone. Didn't hear nothing. So this Saturday, I think he took me to the club, which is like the second gay club I ever went to in Myrtle Beach. Did that. And then we went to like Broadway at the Beach. If anybody knows about Broadway at the Beach, it has like little shops and stuff like that, and the movies. I think we did go to the movies there as well. But then afterwards, when we came home on this Saturday, that's when things jumped off, okay? And I know I told y'all a whole 30-minute prelude, you know, or gave you a whole appetizer to feast upon, but I gotta give it to you all. I'm a person where I try not to leave anything out, and this is my journey. This is my story. This is what I remember from my perspective, and so this is the best way that I can remember. You know, this is the best way I can tell it by telling you as much of the story that I can remember. Again, this is 18.5 years ago. So, so that night we had sex. I do not remember dushing. None of that, but one thing I do remember, I do remember not you know, putting nothing on nothing, okay? If you get my drift, you know. So I was good there, you know. But so yeah, so that was my first sexual experience. And I don't like to get into, you know, like was it small? Was it big? Was it medium size? All that. It wasn't small and it wasn't medium size. There you go. You figured out what's your choice, A, B, or C. So yeah, and it was done like multiple times. But then I remember, like, while all that was great and stuff like that, and it was multiple times this and the other, I kid you not, my hand to God, the next morning I felt so bad. Because I realized that the very first person that ever penetrated me was my cousin's ex-boyfriend. And I remember calling my good girlfriend, which is a real girl. Her name was Talisha. I'll put her name out there, you know. She's not a guilty party. I called Talisha, and I told Talisha, I said, Talisha, I have something I gotta tell you. I said, I don't know who else to talk to, but I gotta tell somebody. And if I can remember, the boo at the time either went to the store, he did something. And so this is when I called Talisha, and I told her, I said, girl, how about I just had sex for the very first time with a guy, and he penetrated me or whatever. And she was like, oh my God, or whatever, how was it? And I was like, girl, let's not even talk about all that. Let's talk about the fact that the person who just penetrated me last night more than one time happens to be your friend, my cousin's ex-boyfriend. And she said, my friend who? And then I told her the name. She's like, oh my God, really? How does this happen? So I kind of tell her a quick little story, how it happened, and just kind of, went from there. And I remember these words, and I always say, Talisha, you implanted something in me that I took from that day on. I took with me, and it sticks with me. And I always tell it to my friends, and I'm sure it's the saying everybody has heard. But at that point, I don't think I had ever heard that statement or that saying, or at least it didn't speak to me the way it spoke to me on this particular day. And she said, what goes on in the dark will always come out to light. Profound statement. What goes on in the dark always comes to light. And I'm just like, damn. Like, how am I gonna like, I like this dude. I really like him. I liked him enough for him to penetrate me. But yet in the same token, like, this is my cousin's ex-boyfriend. My cousin introduced me to him. My cousin trusted enough in me and him to have a friendly conversation here and there. And here I am now sleeping with this man, loving on this man, and really want to be with this man. What do I do in this situation? You know, and then on top of that, we just got back cool only a month and a half ago. So now I look trifling as hell. And so I got on the phone with her, and I called my my best friend, because my best friend, remember, my best friend and my cousin rode up together. But see, I stayed the entire weekend. Both of them had to be back at school on that later that Saturday. I wasn't coming back until Sunday. Hence why I had the rental. And so I called him. I said, so tell me, how was that drive home? Like, did he say anything? Did he da-da-da? He was like, no. Like, you could tell that something was on his mind, but like he didn't say nothing, and like he was just quiet the whole entire ride. Like, we didn't talk. It was very weird. And I was like, oh my God, he's mad, da-da-da, boom, boom, or whatever. And so then I told my best friend, I was like, well, child, he got some last night. Last night. Not last night, but last night. He got some last night. And one occasion. But I feel so guilty. Like, I called Salisha, da-da-da, boom, boom. And he was like, what's she saying? I was like, and I told him, you know, what goes on the dark will come to light. He was like, well, that's true. And I think that you should tell him. And I'm like, oh, God, no. I'm going all too fast. So anyway, fast forward. I do get home. I get back to Charleston and drop the car off and all that. And then we still like saw each other. We had friendly conversations, all that kind of great stuff, you know. But there was a question that he kept asking me. Are you ready for the question?
Hell yes.
The question was, have you been fucked? Excuse me? Have you been... No, I have not. What are you talking about? Like, why would you even think that? This is literally my face and my response. Why would you think that? No. Yes, you have. Who effed you? Nope. What are you I'm like, why are you bringing this up? Why are you like really hesitant and like really like pounding on or persistent and asking me who did? So he would ask me this question every now. You walking different. I'm walking different. Trust me, I wasn't walking different. But I wasn't walking different. But I'm just like, what? What? Like, you serious? Like, no. So the clumps came out, right? I want y'all to hang in there because the story's gonna get even better, okay? Because, yeah. I'm trying to make sure I don't leave anything out before it goes to where I have to take it, okay? And what this whole channel is about. Now, my stories are not gonna be this long going forward, but this one is pretty lengthy. But I'm almost done with the first meat, okay? The turkey leg. But so he kept asking me this question, you know, every now and again or whatever. So the clumps was out. And we went to the movies to go see it. Again, this was in 2000. And this was interesting because the clumps was taped in our, like, a majority of it was taped in our hometown, which is really cool. It was taped between, like, Florence and Conway, South Carolina. So it was really cool. So we went. I remember this night clearly. Clear as day, if I don't remember any other night. We were going to the movie theater in North Charleston. And my cousin was like, okay, so now you gonna tell me who effed you. I'm like, what? We back on that again. You gonna tell me who effed you. And I'm like, okay. And he was like, yeah, you gonna tell me who effed you. I'm like, all right. Are you sure you wanna know? And he was like, yeah, tell me who effed you, tell me who effed you. I was like, you serious? Me and my best friend, I was saying like, this boy is trying, he know, but he want me to confirm it. And so I got pushed to the edge, to the very edge where I was like, okay, here we go. I remember this clearly. He stopped at a red light. When he stopped at a red light, of course the light was red. He stopped and he said, now tell me, I'm not going to press this gas. I'm not gonna go until you tell me who effed you. And I said, are you serious? You really wanna know who did that? Since you said somebody did, you wanna know? He was like, yes, who effed you? You know who effed me? Bleep, effed me. So I'm in the passenger. So imagine my best friend in the back, like, what is about to happen now? And my cousin said, oh, I knew that. Or whatever. I was just waiting for you to tell me. So I was like, you cool? You okay? He was like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm okay. Okay. Got to the theater. Ain't said nothing the entire movie. Ain't laugh. Didn't smirk. I mean, you could tell he was in his feelings. And looking back, like, in hindsight, I understood why he was in his feelings, and he had every right to be in his feelings. Trust me. But one thing that I've learned over the course of time is that whatever your feeling is, for whatever it is, get it out. Especially if it's with someone that you love, you care about, whatever the case, get it out. Because if you keep telling me you okay, if you keep telling me it's all right, if you keep telling me I'm good, it's good, I'm a person, I'm gonna take it. You said we was good now. So tomorrow don't treat me like it's not. Because you had your opportunity. And so, ironically, we got over it. Now it was nearing Thanksgiving. And me and this guy were still talking, you know. But I was still guilty. Like, I guess because I felt like, oh, my cousin's okay. You know, like, he's straight, he good. Then I'ma still continue to talk to this man. And so I did. And so I was home and I had not, like, seen this guy. And of course, like, this is my boo. Like, I'm supposed to, once I'm hanging out with the family, I'm supposed to go see the boo, you know, take my mama car, go to the beach, go see him. I remember being on the phone and telling him I can't do this. And he was like, what do you mean you can't do what? Like, I want to see you, babe, da da da, boom, boom. And I was like, do you realize what you're doing? And he was like, what do you mean what I'm doing? I said, let me break it down. You're older than me. You're 23, 24, whatever. I'm 18, about to be 19 in a couple of weeks. And what I see is you have manipulated the bleep out of me and the situation. You have fallen, or your last two boyfriends are 18 years of age and only a month and a day apart from each other, who just so happen to be cousins and very good friends that have known each other for all of their lives, literally. And you have come in between that. Not only have you done that, you were my first, but you just so happen to be my cousin's ex-boyfriend. And while, yes, I probably should not have and had no business doing, I did it. I own up to that part of it. But what I also feel like is that at 24 years old, you knowing a whole lot more than me, you manipulated the situation. And what you couldn't get from one, you got from another. And I'm not just talking about sex, guys. I'm talking about he got what, just like, he did very much the same thing. He got the same gratification that I got from the ex that was the bottom. I was getting all of what I wanted from him, all of what I wanted from the ex or the ex-boo, the fine, buff bottom, I was now getting from this educated nurse. And so I told him, I was like, I can't come see you. Like, I just think that we need to end it. I said, because on top of that, me and my cousin just made up. Like, literally, the first weekend in September, we just made up. We just, and one of the most painful things that happened, or one of the most things that I regret, and I don't regret many things. Really, it's probably like maybe 2 or 3 things. But the thing that I regret, if anything, was the fact that me and my cousin were not as tight as we once were. Our senior year, because that was my cousin was like my best friend who was gay, who didn't care, and I was the one in the back kind of like watching out, looking like what's going, you know. But he kind of understood me and knew. But what I appreciated, that he waited for me to tell him. He didn't try to push me out there and say, okay, you gay, what, you know what I'm saying? So for the last half of my senior year, we didn't have that connection. We didn't talk. We didn't have that relationship. And so now that I have it back, and now we're in school together, and we're, you know, like, no, I just can't. Like, I can't let you. You're still a stranger. I've only known you a month and a half. I've known this man at this point 16 years. Boy, bye. Like, seriously. So that's how it ended. But it's interesting because I think I'll say that part for part 2 when I call my cousin. Yeah, I'm about to call him. Now, I did warn him that I was going to call him. Okay, so he does know that I'm calling him. But he does not know what the conversation is about. I said, no, okay, I'm going to put you on YouTube channel, my first episode, blah, blah, blah. You know, so get ready, but I can't tell you what it's about until we get on the phone. He was like, okay, wait, I get home, da, da, da. So I think he's home, so I'm going to call him. My heart's beating a little fast. And it's not beating fast in that sense, like I'm scared, because no, it's not that. Because one thing that we do a lot is we reminisce. We reminisce over the past and the things that happened when we were younger. And I remember a conversation we had like 2 months ago, where we kind of talked about a situation, but it was very, very like, the conversation wasn't like in depth, you know? So that's why, and I didn't want it to, because I figured this is something that I want to put on my YouTube channel. So are you ready for me to call him? I got my other phone here, so hopefully, he said he would be home in a couple of minutes. He was getting home from work, so I'm going to, if I can get into my phone, so I'm going to call him. Hello? Hello? Cousin, did you hang up? I think he hung up on me.